even those of us who are in the anti-war movement don't always get all this information as to what is happening. I just wanted to say that after the large demonstrations of 2003, 2004, we sat down and tried to think of what we could best do, and we felt that what we could best do was to work here to deconstruct war logic. So we put out one document, 18 questions, to sort of deconstruct one by one all the lies that are in the media, and we see the lies being used to justify war. Many people here felt, after seeing all these pictures on television, that they had to do something for Iraqi women or for Afghanistan women. And so we did workshops, documents, discussions to deconstruct this. And I think this, as long as we let these lies go around, then the government has more power to engage in other wars. So we chose to work here to counter and deconstruct the war logic. And the last thing we did was to work on, to produce a document to inform the population of the rise of militarism in our society. Because, like, over the past 10 years, there's been an increasing presence of the military in all aspects of life. You know, sports, family events, we have soldiers giving out water, and we're convinced that it's to get us used to the presence of the military, and we have to see behind that as also an instrument of protection.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
You collect a few comments and then
I'll speak in so I'm from Lebanon, so I understand very well. I'm in the fence. So kaya na parang wala tayo that's sorry. I wanted to ask, one was about or well, if we're going to get a bit geopolitical, one was about Iran and the influence that Iran has in the current Iraqi government and the resistance within the Shia community to that, or how it's not clearly that, you know, all what is how does it work within the Shia community? What are elements of the Shia community? How do they feel about Iranian influence in the country? That's one aspect. The second aspect is about the what you think of Kurdish, the Kurdish part in the north, and the possibility of them becoming a separate part of Iraq. Yeah, those would be my two major questions. But I do want to congratulate you, all of you, especially the solidarity movement. I think a lot of people on the left, it's very easy to just say we should have invaded Iraq. It's a disaster. And then almost, I don't want to say gloat in that, but just be like, see, we told you, it's all destroyed. That's okay, fine. But then what, people still live. So I'm very happy that you're still, it's like, I think it's shameful that Iraq was invaded to begin with. But then to invade it, destroy it, and then forget about it. Be like, it's a mess, and just kind of leave it there is insanely irresponsible. So the idea that we're still interested in what's going on in Iraq, we're still supporting initiatives in Iraq, and it's not just, it's over. I think it's really important. I don't see enough of it. So I'm glad that it rose beyond just, I'm against the war. Okay, we're against the war, but now what do we do? And how can we, now in the absence of Saddam Hussein, which is a good thing, how can we move towards a better, Iraqi future?
Hi, my name is George Martin, and I'm a former leader in the U.S. peace movement and worked with Terry. And I was in Baghdad 2 days after shock and awe, working with Ishmael. And I met Justin in Tunis. Yes. And it's so sad because in the United States we don't get all. We see the deaths. I did not know of the protests. And I work globally, and I did not know. And I just have to comment, with all the things going on, to hear about the Children's Hospital. And I had spent much time there with Dr. Ali. and it breaks my heart. But every day it breaks my heart when I look at the newspaper and it's 2 or 3 paragraphs about the deaths and not the inside information. And so I acknowledge the courage of the Iraqi people in terms of the protests and the nonviolence. And what can we say other than it should be more than solidarity? You know, during the war, I challenged our U.S. senators in terms of the $4 billion in U.S. taxpayer money that was go to reconstruction in Iraq. And when I was in Iraq, all the reconstruction I saw was done by the sons of Fallujah and the sons of Baghdad, and no reflection of our U.S. tax dollars. And my assumption is that is part of the corruption. And as a U.S. citizen, it appalls me. And to a much better future. Peace and love.
Our own corruption too.
I have a question. Well, yeah, sure. I'm Melissa Berta, I'm Italian. I don't belong to a specific movement related. I mean, I used to belong to the peace movement in Italy at the time of the war, 2003. And first of all, thanks a lot for what you told us, because personally, even though I try to be informed, I didn't know that much. So thanks a lot for sharing such an insight on what's happening in Iraq. I have a question more from our side in terms of how we could bring more solidarity in, because what the Iraqi Civil Society Solidarity Initiative is doing, as he was saying, is amazing. I try to be informed of what happens in Iraq thanks to Ponte Per. But on the other hand, I mean, I have the feeling that in 2003, there were so many people that were interested in what was going on. And somehow these people are now are not anymore involved because it's not anymore the burning issue. But at the same time, considering what is happening in the Middle East, what's happening in Iran, Syria, and related to the Kurdish. So I'm wondering if there is any chance of bringing the debate again into the scene. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm really wondering how could more people in Europe or in the States get back to realize how important is what is happening. So it's really a question. I really have no idea. I'm just feeling like myself, even if I was very much involved in the peace movement in 2003, I'm kind of less and less aware. Imagine those that were not in first person involved, that were just following the flow, how far they must be. But on the other hand, they keep reading on a newspaper about the refugee crisis. And there is somehow a link in what is happening around Middle East. So it's really a question. I'm wondering what could be done more to get more people at least to be aware of how important this debate should be right now.
Can I add one more thing I want to say? What's going on in Iraq, obviously, is a reflection of what's going on in the whole region. And every country has its own internal dynamics, but of course there's a giant struggle for democracy and accountability and civil society around the Middle East. But it's being repressed by different forces. Sometimes it's the military, like in Egypt. Sometimes it's just one dictator, like Syria, or one clan. But I think Lebanon and Iraq are similar since it's a collection of mini dictators, and it's based on a sectarian system. So I'm wondering, is Iraqi civil society making any effort to connect with civil society outfits in other Arab countries and their relation to what's going on in the whole region? And I guess I'm from Lebanon, so I don't know, is there anything specifically connecting Lebanon and Iraq? In particular, Lebanon and Iraq, because the problems are so similar.